So over the years, Norway have produced some average footballers, let's say Martin Odegaard, not the best. Maybe Erling Haaland, he's alright, isn't he? But in this video, we're going to take a look at some teams in Norway that you want to take a look at to see if you can find yourself the next Erling Haaland, because there are definitely some teams that will produce players close to Erling Haaland's quality. We are kicking things off with Stabæk Football Club in the Norwegian top division, and they have actually managed to produce a player in this save with 179 potential ability, which is still like 20 away from Erling Haaland's potential ability, but it's only 9 away from Erling Haaland's current ability at the start of the save. Stabæk have managed to produce 8 players in this simulation with 120 to 129 potential. We've got Skremoen, who does have 120 potential, but his current ability of 94, so actually looks quite good. We also have Fukuoka, who has 124 potential ability and a current ability of 104. Stefan Schmitz is a German attacking midfielder with 128 potential ability. And Morten Lineker has 129 potential ability. I'm pretty sure he's no relation to Gary. They also managed to produce 4 players with 130 to 140 potential. Joachim Kiruba has 134 potential ability. Sindre Kildal has 135 potential ability. Marcus Gjerd has 136 potential ability. And Anders Ole Ek Jorgensen has 139 potential ability. All of these players are coming in the same simulation. So over the last 5 seasons, all of these players have come through Stabæk's youth intakes, including 2 players with 159 potential ability. Tor Pedersen is one of those players, 19 years of age, striker with 16 finishing. He's only worth £650,000 top end. That's a bargain. And at 19 as well, he's kind of on the upper end of actual ability. So he's probably good enough to play championship football right now. Another player who I would put in a very similar boat is Øyvind Revholen, who also has 159 potential ability. £1.6 million maximum value on this guy, 17 years of age. Technically, he's got some very good numbers in very good places. He has got 15 heading at 5'9", which seems a bit wasted, but Revholen, I think, is going to be very good. In fact, I know he's going to be very good. He's got 159 potential. But the top of the list is Sondre Pedersen with 179 potential ability. Is he the next Erling Haaland? No, he's a right back. But still, he is going to be the next superstar from Norway coming through the Stabæk youth intakes. Stabæk, over these 5 different simulators that I've done, have always produced multiple players with 130 potential or higher. Almost guaranteed that they will get at least 1 player every intake with 130 potential or higher. In fact, doing the maths, Stabæk have managed to produce 28 players with 130 potential or higher over 25 different youth intakes. So they're pretty much guaranteed to get at least 1 player who's half decent. Next up is Vålerenga, who, much like Stabæk, have produced a stupidly good amount of players. In this simulation, they've got 1 player with 150 to 160 potential, 1 with 140 to 149, 2 in the 130s, and 10 with 120 to 130 as well. The pick of the bunch in the 120 to 130 potentials is Tor Moller, who has 125 potential ability. His current ability also isn't particularly bad at 108. They've also got Marius Lassen with 127 potential ability and also quite a decent current ability as well, 17 years of age as well. And with 110 current ability and 129 potential ability, we have Omar Abdirahman, who is Norwegian and part Somalian, and he's actually already moved club to a team called Ranheim from HamKam. In fact, he's moved twice, so he might be getting some first team football and actually turning into a very good player. The 2 players in this simulation with 130 potential or higher, Thomas Opsahl is the first. He has 133 potential ability, striker, 17 years of age, high finishing, high determination, pretty decent physicals as well. Most other things aren't the best, but he's cheap, 350k, not bad. With 139 potential ability, we have Tinius Vendik, who is a Norwegian central midfielder. I'd argue he's a centre-back, guys. He's not a central midfielder. He is currently playing for Juve. He has a current ability of about 120 something in that kind of area. He was bought for £3.4 million, and he's actually playing some Serie A football as well. That's quite impressive. But he is not the best player to come through the Vålerenga youth intakes. Michael Steger is a 19-year-old Polish central defender playing for Man United, and he has 140 potential ability and 132 current ability, so arguably shouldn't be in the Man United under 21s. He should be moved on to someone else, maybe on loan, to get some game time. What did they pay for him? £3.8 million, potentially going up to 4.5. Is he also part Norwegian? He's not. He's only from Poland. Fair enough. The best player, however, has 152 potential ability. That is Matis Skinnz. Why have I decided to try and pronounce some of these names? Anyway, Matthias, that's what we're going to go with. It's probably Matthias, isn't it? We're going to go Matthias. He's 16 years of age. Also looks quite good for a 16-year-old already. He's got, 3 months until he turns 17 as well. So he's close to sort of hitting that position where you would consider probably playing fairly regularly. I know I don't like to play 16-year-olds, but 17-year-olds for some reason are fine with me. He's also a perfectionist. In another one of these simulations as well, Vålerenga managed to produce this man, Meriton Moratti, who has 158 potential ability. He's just moved over to Sporting Kansas. He is part Norwegian and part Kosovan. He's actually got 8 caps for Kosovo and decided he wants to be Norwegian. Next up on the list is Mulder, who obviously have had some very good players in the past, including a certain Erling Haaland has played for them in the past, but they are also pretty good at getting themselves their own decent set of youth players. Whilst not as productive as Stabæk and Vålerenga, Mulder still managed to get a fair amount of players in this simulation. We have Massimiliano Moretto, who has 123 potential ability. He's also got 119 current ability, so he's very close to what he will actually finish as. Lars Erik Reisan has 124 potential and also 110 current ability. Also with 124 potential is Thomas Forsmark, with 128 potential ability, Magnus Kjellflat. And Thomas Anderson also has 128 potential ability, and he is a perfectionist and really bloody fast. We've also got 3 players with 130 potential. We have Christian Stangar, who has 132 potential ability. Also, current ability is pretty high. I like the look of him. With 134 potential ability, we have Antene Mekanen, who is Norwegian and Ethiopian, and he's already got 120 current ability as well. I like the look of him, but knowing that this is kind of close to as good as he's going to get, he's not worth the money. But if you didn't know his potential, I'd probably buy him. With 137 potential, we have Sven Frode Blickeng, who's just 16 years of age, just come through the last youth intake. He looks good. He's not got great current ability, but first touch of 15 looks quite nice. Mental and physical numbers, 11s and 12s all over the place, so he's got some room to grow, but he is only 16. But the best player to come through Mulder by a fair distance is Kent Becken with 159 potential ability. He's moved over to PSG, not yet played for the first team, but they brought him for £2.9 million, it looks like. 2.9, potentially rising for £5.25 million. So, Kent Becken, the best player to come through Mulder, but Mulder are a good team to produce players who are good enough to play championship level football in England, which is arguably maybe low down Ligue 1 in France, maybe low down Bundesliga, maybe low down Serie A, places like that. So, Mulder are a good side to check out. Next up is a team that I have pretty much never heard of. They are playing in a very small 1,400 capacity stadium in this simulation. I assume that can't be their stadium. We have Skeid Football, who are in the Norwegian First Division. However, if we look at their history, they're a bit of a yo-yo team. They have just finished third in this simulation. Fair enough. They have the chance to get some very good players, and in this simulation, they have done just that. We've got 7 players with 120 to 129 potential. Sean Love is a Scottish international centre-back with 18 caps to his name, 121 potential here. I don't understand. Why is a Scotsman born in Scotland? He's part Norwegian. Fair enough. I don't think he's good enough to get 18 caps for Scotland, but still, whatever. Palle Jorgensen has 122 potential ability as a centre-back, maybe a right-back. Matthias Jusen also has 122 potential ability on that left-hand side. Arguably, I put him more as a striker myself. Geert Solis has 123 potential ability. Not very good. Quite fast, though. With 125 potential ability, Marius Elshaug, who's a right-back, maybe a right-winger. With 127 potential ability, Emmanuel Tangen Fossum, 16 years of age, central defender, maybe defence midfielder, maybe central midfielder. I'm not quite sure what I'd play him as. Probably a centre-back. He's 5'10". Yeah, still a centre-back. With 129 potential ability, we have Daniel Stoa Wallemnace, might be his name. He's moved over to Bodo Glimt. at 19 years of age. Obviously, he's pretty good now. 275,000, potentially going up to 650. So, Skinnz are arguably one of the cheaper sides to steal players from. And they're also a very good side to get some players with high potential ability as well. With 138 potential ability, we have Arve Överli, might be his name, 16-year-old Swedish winger who is very fast. Great first touch, great technique, and will punch literally anybody if they get close to him with his 20 aggression. But at the top, with 144 potential ability, we have Glenn Tage, who is an 18-year-old central midfielder, maybe a striker, maybe a winger, maybe an attacking midfielder. I'm going to go with central midfielder because he's got 9 passing rather than 7 finishing. I'm not quite sure what position this man is. If you were to sign this guy, you'd definitely have to just force train him and force play him somewhere, because he is the most obscure footballer. He's very technical. He's got to be a central midfielder. And the final team we're going to take a look at is HamKam, which is their shortened abbreviation of their name. Hammer Kamertene might be their full name. Not quite sure, but they are basically producing players with sort of 120 to 130 potential quite regularly. So let's take a look to see what they've done in this simulation. We've only got 5 players to take a look at. We've got Morten Merland Sveitzen, might be his name. It has 122 potential ability, but looks quite good at the moment. It might be his physical attributes that are kind of throwing me off. With 127 potential ability, we have Torre Andres Overmo. He looks very good as well. He's not a striker. He's got 8 finishing. Maybe 8 finishing is fine. I don't know. With 131 potential ability, we have John Andreas Brusten Runsveen. Might be his full name. For £1.2 million, odd to have managed to pick him up from HamKam. He looks good. He looks good already. I think he's got 120 something potential. So this is close to as good as he's going to get. With 135 potential, we have Karol Krozik, might be his name. He is signed for Bodo Glimt on a free transfer. So his contract expired. I assume he just didn't want to sign a new one because he looks very, very good. Signed for Bodo Glimt, not playing first team football. They're going to go out on loan, but he looks good. 17 first touch, 17 technique, 14 passing. He is a deep line playmaker if I've ever seen one. And finally, with 150 potential and also a German passport, as well as the Norwegian one, is Karl Fisseler. As an 18-year-old left-back, he doesn't look very good, but knowing he has that potential, and you can kind of get a sense with his value as well, going up to £1.4 million, there is some potential there. He needs game time. At 18 years of age, he's just turned 18 actually about 3 months ago, so maybe it's not as bad as it looks, but he certainly needs game time. But with 150 potential, he's obviously going to be pretty good if he does get that development under his belt. There was supposed to be a 6th team on this video, but they produced literally nobody of any use. I went through the editor and found teams who have really high sort of youth facilities, youth importance, things like that. And Holmlia are one of those teams that had some decent numbers, not amazing, but some decent numbers. They literally produced over 25 youth intakes, 7 players. And yeah, the best player had 90 potential. But it might be worth checking out, you never know. Speaking of players who don't have high potential, let's talk about Qatar. The video on screen will tell you some clubs in Qatar that will produce some of the best players in the nation, and there is one team in that list that will produce pretty much all of them.